What builds your cells? What makes your heart beat? What lets you read this very sentence? It all comes down to proteins, the workhorses of your body. And guess who makes those proteins? Ribosomes. These tiny structures are like microscopic factories churning out the essential building blocks of life. Without ribosomes, we wouldn't exist. They're that important. Imagine a world without the proteins that form your muscles, digest your food, or fight off infections. Not a pretty picture, right? Thank goodness for ribosomes. Ribosomes are the ultimate cellular multitaskers. They're found in every living thing, from the smallest bacteria to the largest animals. Their job is to read genetic instructions and translate them into proteins, a process called protein synthesis. It's like taking a blueprint and using it to build a house, except on a much, much smaller scale. Now let's get up close and personal with these protein-making marvels. Don't be intimidated by these sciencey terms. We'll keep it simple. A ribosome is like a tiny hamburger bun made up of two parts or subunits. We've got the small subunit on the bottom, which is like the bottom bun. This little guy is responsible for grabbing onto the genetic instructions called messenger RNA, mRNA. Then we have the large subunit on top, like the top bun. This subunit is the builder. It takes the instructions from the mRNA and uses them to assemble amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, in the correct order. Together, the small and large subunits work in perfect harmony, like a well-oiled machine to crank out proteins non-stop. Okay, let's break down this protein synthesis thing. It's like a cellular dance, and ribosomes are the choreographers. First, the mRNA, carrying the genetic blueprint from the DNA, arrives at the ribosome. Think of the mRNA as a messenger delivering a secret code. The ribosome attaches to the mRNA, ready to decode the message. Now it's time for the amino acids to join the party. They're brought to the ribosome by special delivery trucks called transfer RNA, tRNA. Each tRNA carries a specific amino acid, like a truck carrying a specific cargo. The ribosome reads the mRNA code 3 letters at a time, like deciphering a secret message. Each 3-letter code, called a codon, tells the ribosome which tRNA, and therefore which amino acid, should be added to the growing protein chain. The ribosome keeps moving along the mRNA like a train chugging along a track, linking amino acids together one by one. As the chain grows, it folds and twists into a unique 3-dimensional shape, forming a functional protein. And voila! The ribosome has done its job, creating a protein ready to carry out its specific task in the cell. Section 4, Prokaryotes versus Eukaryotes, where the ribosomes roam. Now, here's where things get a little different depending on the type of cell we're talking about. Think of cells like houses. Prokaryotic cells, like those found in bacteria, are like cozy one-room cabins. They're small and simple, and their ribosomes just float freely in the cytoplasm, which is like the main living area of the cell. Eukaryotic cells, like those found in plants and animals, are more like large, multi-room mansions. They're bigger and more complex, with a separate nucleus that acts as the control center, housing the DNA. Eukaryotic cells also have specialized compartments called organelles. Ribosomes in eukaryotic cells can be found floating freely in the cytoplasm, just like in prokaryotes, but they can also be attached to a network of membranes called the endoplasmic reticulum, or ER. The ER with attached ribosomes is called rough ER because it looks bumpy under a microscope. Think of it like a factory floor where proteins are manufactured and processed. Ribosomes on the rough ER produce proteins that are destined for specific locations within the cell or for export outside the cell. Section 5. Ribosomal responsibility, no small task. It's clear that ribosomes are essential for life as we know it. Without them, cells wouldn't be able to produce the proteins they need to function, grow, and repair themselves. It would be like a factory shutting down its production line. Everything would grind to a halt. And just like in any factory, errors can occur during protein synthesis. These errors can lead to the production of faulty proteins, which can have serious consequences for the cell and the organism as a whole. Think of it like a misprint in the blueprint. It can lead to a structural flaw in the building. Some diseases, such as certain types of cancer, are linked to errors in ribosome function. Scientists are working hard to understand these errors and develop new treatments for these diseases. Section 6, ribosomes, tiny but mighty. So there you have it, a glimpse into the fascinating world of ribosomes. These tiny structures, too small to be seen with the naked eye, play a monumental role in keeping us alive and functioning. They're the unsung heroes of the cellular world, tirelessly churning out proteins that are essential for every aspect of life. Fun fact, did you know that a single human cell can contain millions of ribosomes? That's a whole lot of protein-making power packed into each and every one of your cells. So next time you take a bite of food, flex your muscles, or simply breathe in and out, remember the tiny but mighty ribosomes hard at work inside you, keeping you going strong.